Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to explain why it is that I am so upfront and honest about my substance usage. And this is a really big choice and sacrifice for me because uh, making something like steroid usage public had definitely has its very huge negative qualities to it. I'm a subject of people's jokes, oftentimes at work or at the gym. People are like, "Ugh," when they see all my veins and stuff popping out. And a couple weeks ago, I was out to lunch with my mom, and she looked at me and she said, I saw your YouTube channel." Just kind of looked at me with a face, and I said, "Yeah, you know, I can honestly say that even with my mom, I really don't have shame about it." And I feel like it's so important for people in the community to be able to, take the power out of the negative connotation behind steroids, because it's really not that big of a deal, and it's only made a big deal in society because people lie about it. If a guy looked like he was using, he's like, "Yeah, I'm using," then it doesn't have this shock factor to it. The shock factor comes from people in sports, bodybuilding, natural shows, and just all this deception that goes on with it. And I have people constantly, almost every time I go to the gym, whether I'm in the locker room with my shirt off or I'm doing a set, I have that pump going and I look pretty solid. And I'll have high school kids, I'll have people my age or older come up to me and say, "Hey, what are you doing to get so big? What do I need to do?" And I tell them, I said, "It's going to require more sacrifice than probably what you're willing to put in." And I word it like that, and people kind of go, "Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying." And I've had people just shake my hand and be like, "Thank you for being so honest to me," because there are people that I'm not that big of a guy. I understand that the camera might not be that flattering to me, but when you stand next to me and my height plays a factor, then you'll kind of be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he looks a little bigger than I probably would have expected from how he looks in his videos." You really got to factor in the length of the limbs and everything like that. That gives to the overall appeal of how I look. But back to what I was saying earlier is that, you know, these people that are big, that look like they have a successful physique, you might call it, they try to make it like so difficult or obscure about how they got to be the way they look. They'll say things like, "Man, it's just hard work, you gotta diet, you gotta work hard, you gotta know what you're doing in the gym." And they just make it sound so bro and so, you know, simple, but at the same time confusing, because in the bodybuilding world where steroids are 100% okay, we see all these videos of Phil Heath, Kai Green, Dexter Jackson, all the big names giving their workouts, showing their techniques, seeing them in the kitchen, portion out meals, eat food, and all that. But there's such a big part of the picture that's never talked about. And it's so frustrating because, you know, they're called the gurus, the guys behind the scenes that develop their steroid stacks, that through trial and error, they figure out what dosages give the most solid muscle building effect. And I would say it's about 33% substances, 33% diet, and 33% what you do in the gym. And, when you leave out that 33% that nobody is willing to talk about, it throws the other two factors into this tailspin, because when somebody is explaining, but they won't talk about the steroid part, they make the diet sound really important, or they make the training sound really important because they can't talk about that the steroid part. And it's just it's bullshit because you put they put value behind certain aspects of training more so than what is realistic to why they look the way they do. And us older, more experienced people can see and understand what's going on, but the problem is the youth, or just whoever who is not as educated as we are gets inspired, and when they go forth with the training as the way it was suggested to them, and they don't get the results that they would expect because they're like, hey, I'm following this guy's program and look at the way he looks. But they're leaving out a third of the piece of the pie. And if I, as a person, can be one of the people that helps change this lack of understanding of what true muscle building is and why it works the way it does, you can explain science of hypertrophy and resistance training and 5 times 5 times 5 or whatever, and at the end of the day, it's you got to talk about the substances. You have to. And it's just so frustrating to me because I see how unique it is that somebody's like, well, I take this, and to people's surprise, they're like, wow, you're actually telling me that. And I get it. I understand, people have to make their money. They have to push their supplements to say this is why I look the way that I do, and take this and you can look like me, and here's my plan, pay fucking $50 for it. And I guess somebody for me to where I already have my income that isn't necessary to bodybuilding, I can say it like that, but it still is frustrating nonetheless because I feel like a lot of the time I'm picking up the slack of all of the financial manipulators that exist in the industry. And I am obviously not popular enough. My videos are too controversial or open to exist in a financial sense and have advertised everything because I talk about illegal substance usage. But I'm doing this for the people. And then when I get the hateful or sarcastic comments or like, dude, you're not even that big, I'm like, yeah, no shit. Because you guys are so used to what you think is the natural community, and it's really not. A lot of the times, the people that are natural, they just feel like since they're only running a little bit of test or whatever, that, well, I'm not like all the other guys that are running stacks of 5 and 6 things. And, it's just, I, I feel bad for people that they can't see things for what they truly are. And if you're like me and you can, then we feel that much stronger and educated because of it, because now we know what it really takes to look a certain way. And anybody that likes to brainstorm topics like this, or gather together and be the difference, then that's why I'm here. And anybody that has any questions, always, like I say, feel free to leave something in the comments and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. But thank you for tuning in, and I hope you learned something from this. Thank you.